Wu Zetian was China's only female ruler. During the Tang Dynasty, she worked her way to power and fame, leaving a legacy that will last for thousands of years. Wu Zetian was one of the most powerful and controversial rulers in history. She married 2 kings, had a few more children, and got rid of anyone who got in her way. It's hard to tell the difference between fiction and fact when it comes to Wu Zetian, but stories about her life and rule are very interesting to read. Wu Zetian was Emperor Taizong's favorite concubine. Wu Zetian, who was also known as Wu Zhao and Wu Hao, married Emperor Taizong when she was 14 years old, in 636 or 638 CE. She was raised by a father who pushed her to read, write, and think in ways that were usually only done by men. She came from a wealthy family. She first worked in the laundry when she got to Taizong's house. She finally had the nerve to talk to the emperor as he walked by one day, and they started talking all the time. In fact, the emperor thought she was very smart and made her his clerk. This helped her stay close to the emperor and up to date on politics, society, and state business. Taizong liked her, and his son, Prince Li Ji, also was interested in her. They started seeing each other, which was dangerous since she was still married to his father, and he was married. After Taizong's death, she was supposed to become a nun, but ended up as his son's concubine. The concubines of Emperor Taizong had their heads shaved and sent to a convent when he died in 649 CE. This was done so they wouldn't have any other lovers after being with the emperor. Taizong's son, Prince Li Ji, who is now Emperor Gaozong, Cao, loved Wu and sent for her to be brought back to the palace. Wu became one of Gaozong's many wives, along with his other concubines and his wife, Lady Wang. Wu was hated by Gaozong's other concubines and wife. Lady Wang, who was married to the emperor, did not have any children with him. His most important concubine, Xiao Shufei, who was known as the pure concubine, had a boy and 2 daughters. In 652 and 653, Wu Zetian had 2 sons. All of this didn't really affect who would take over from Gaozong because he had already picked someone, but it did make things very tense among the women. Li Zhong, the son of Gaozong's chancellor Liu Shi, was chosen to take over after him. This was partly because Liu Shi was Gaozong's wife's uncle. The focus on Wu was what both Lady Wang and Xiao didn't like. She was smarter than the other women, so she was immediately seen as a threat. She may have framed Gaozong's wife for her daughter's death, so she could marry him. Wu had a girl in 654, but she died after only a week. Lady Wang was the last person to hold the baby, and Wu said she was suffocating or choking the child. Some later writers say she killed the baby herself to make Lady Wang look guilty of the crime because she knew Lady Wang didn't like her. Wu said Lady Wang was a witch and she didn't have a good excuse. The pure concubine may have also been involved, which Wu may have done to get rid of all of her enemies. Lady Wang was sent to a faraway part of the court after being found guilty of murder. Later, the pure concubine came to be with her. Gaozong split up with Lady Wang and then married Wu. She ordered the men that opposed her to be executed. Wu was empress in 655 when her female rivals were no longer in the picture. Some aides who had worked for Taizong were against her and wouldn't take her job with Gaozong. They were worried because Wu was having a bigger effect on Gaozong. They said Wu didn't come from a noble family and that she had been Taizong's mistress, so her marriage to Gaozong was improper because they were related. Wu set out to get rid of these guys by finding ways to send them to prison or kill them. Gaozong had a stroke in 660 that left him unable to do much, which gave Wu even more power. She took over the government, the courts, and the state, and she pretty much ran China for the next 23 years. She had the women she accused of killing her daughter slaughtered. Wu told the pure concubine and Lady Wang to be killed after she became empress. People say she told them to have their hands and feet cut off and then to be thrown into a vat of wine to die. One person who knew her said that she watched and said, "Now these two witches can get drunk to their bones." Wu eliminated her sons, one by one, until she was emperor. Wu had 2 kids who died while he was still alive. It is said that one crown prince was poisoned for questioning his mother, and another was sent away and made to kill himself. When Wu's father died in 683, his son Li Hong became ruler. A royal name was given to him, but he and his wife, Lady Wei, did too much to further their own goals. Wu could see that they were abusing their power, especially after Lady Wei made her father the chief minister of her husband's government. Wu put them both in jail for treason and sent them away. Other people say she poisoned her son to get rid of him. While he was locked up at home, her youngest son, who became a king and was called Ruizong, was in charge. His mother made all the choices. In 690, she made him give up his throne. At this point, she said that she was emperor. For the next 15 years, she was queen. She had a group of secret police and spies at her disposal. With the help of her network of hidden police and spies, Wu was able to get rid of her enemies and rivals. Wu paid people to come to court and talk about what they knew as spies. He did this to get information from all over China. She found out bad things about government officials she wanted to get rid of, paid them for telling on each other, and found out about plans to harm her before they became real threats. Wu Zetian spent more time with her lovers than ruling China toward the end of her reign. By the end of her rule, Wu had become corrupted by too much. She took on male concubines and didn't do her work, showing the Zhang brothers a lot of respect. According to one historian, in her 70s, Wu showered special favor on 2 smooth-cheeked brothers, the Zhang brothers, former boy singers, the nature of whose private relationship with their imperial mistress has never been precisely determined. One of the brothers, she declared, had a face as beautiful as a lotus flower, while it is said she valued the other for his talents in the bedchamber. The empress, greatly weakened by infirmity and old age, would allow no one but the Zhang brothers by her side. She became paranoid, was addicted to drugs, and banished or killed anyone she thought was against her. Government officials and other people at court didn't like the Zhang brothers very much. They were 20 years old, very flashy, and loved going to parties. The empress didn't care about this, and as she got older, she became more and more dependent on her 2 loves. One story says that the nobles got so angry that they broke into the house, killed the brothers, and took over the government. Wu began to believe that everyone was working together against her, even the concubines she was seeing. She continued to send her enemies into exile, jail, or kill them. She became hooked on aphrodisiacs and lost touch with the real world. In 704 or 705, she had to give up her throne, and her son Zhongzong was brought back from exile to take over. Wu's husband gets credit for a lot of her successes. China increased its military power over the area during the Tang Dynasty, with Wu as a main leader. During her rule, there was peace, and she made the system of civil service tests better in China. Even her harshest critics have to agree that military expenses were reduced, taxes cut, salaries of deserving officials raised, retirees given a viable pension, and vast royal lands near the capital turned over to husbandry. No one will ever know just how bad or good Wu was. It's possible that Wu killed her daughter, but no one will ever know for sure. Lady Wang may have killed the baby, or Wu may have killed it herself. It's hard to tell what is true and what has been made up over time, because so much of the information about Wu comes from later sources. Wu Zetian went against traditional Confucian ideas about leadership, and people in her time did not like her at all when she became powerful. Chinese scholars have blamed Wu for a lot of different things, such as killing babies, being wild, and even earthquakes. People thought that the earthquake in China soon after she took power was a bad sign. The stories that have been told over time may have been affected by family members of her enemies and victims, as well as the Empress herself. The sources have been against her from the start. We hope you liked this video. Watch another video here.